Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. What do we have here? Well, we have a baboon on Sanctuar, on my little property here. Not little, but anyway. And I'm gonna make another video. I'm gonna make 3 or 4 videos from here. Today, Saturday, the 4th of October. 4th of October for me is an important date. And that is on the 4th of October 1989, I started martial arts in the communist Romania. Oh, here are some deer tracks. I'm looking for the coyote tracks. It's a beautiful lane over there that's open, it's nice. So, what is this video going to be about? First, it's going to be about NATO, who is attacked by Russia because Russia wants to take over our freedoms, our culture, our traditions, and they want to make it like traditional, you know, and that's not good. They're not progressive enough like others with pink hairs and no balls. So what's going on here? China helps Russia, and these guys are crying about it because nobody is supposed to help Russia, but everybody is supposed to help Ukraine, which is not Ukraine, you know that. It's the interest coming from the West. That's the first topic. The second topic, Russia attacks. Actually, let's go to the second topic as it is. I got my CC iPad here. I'm gonna just look at some articles for you. The second topic is NATO cries that is under a hybrid war conducted and initiated by Russia. So NATO is the victim. And what should NATO do? Of course, defend itself. So these pieces of shit from Denmark, they are at the forefront like always. A small shitty country like Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, you know, small countries. In this case, you have Denmark, are pushed forward in order to provoke. And what do they want? They want to close the Baltic Sea. They want to close it for the Russian vessels, and not military vessels necessarily. They want to close it for commercial vessels as well. That means they will strangle Kaliningrad, and they will strangle, obviously, St. Petersburg, one of the biggest cities in Russia. I don't know if it's the second as size. I think it's the second one. Moscow is the first one. I think that is the second. I don't think. I think I know, but maybe not. Because I'm thinking which one could be another one. Kazan is small, not even matters. What, Stalingrad is small. What, Saratov? No, St. Petersburg. Okay. So, that's the second topic. These guys want to close it because they want, NATO wants to have the Baltic Sea, the Black Sea, the Mediterranean Sea as Marea Nostri. If you know what Marea Nostri is, go to the Roman Empire. When Rome took over Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, they had their empire surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. Therefore, that they say that's our sea, Marea Nostri, our mare, our sea, our sea. So they want to do the same thing with the Baltic Sea, and they want to do the same thing with the Black Sea. And who stands in the way? Only Russia. If Russia falls, Georgia will fall in a place, and everybody else in the Caucasus. That means it's done deal, and they will move on. They move on. The goal is the planet is not only Marea Nostri. Little by little, small, big steps. So the third topic is the Russians launched another drone and missile attack on Ukraine last night from the 3rd to the 4th of October. So let me get my CC iPad here and let's see what do we have. Beautiful place here, beautiful location, quiet unless you have hillbillies around, but I'm okay with them because I have guns too. All right, so let's start with the first one. I don't care, man. I'm all for guns. For people who don't do stupid stuff, and that is, you know, have a criminal record, and that's it. And a mental health issue. These are the two things that, you know, should infringe on the people's rights to have to bear and carry weapons, guns, firearms. The rest, you can't just say, oh, this guy might do this, might do that. We all might do that. When a police stops you at a traffic stop, he can shoot you. He's got a gun. How do you know it's not going to happen? If you say the wrong thing, he might blow your gasket off. All right, let's start with this one. China provides Russia with satellite data for missile strikes on Ukraine, intelligence says. I don't think so. I do not believe that. I tell you why. Do you know what engines these guys use mainly to send satellites in space, including Americans? Now go and check that out and find the answer. And that is, the Russians provide rocket engines for satellites. Most, not all of them, but a lot of them. So that's the first one. To just think that China is, what was that? China is ahead of the Russians in the military intelligence in space. It's very, very hard, not impossible, very hard for me to accept that. It's not impossible, but I don't think the Russians need that. But what's the point? They want to pin together the Russians with the Chinese, or the Chinese together with the Russians, and better put, in order to say, see, China, India, and others help Russia. Well, that means NATO clearly can help Russia, yeah, can help Ukraine then. It's just legal, it's just this guy, look at them, they're bad people right there. Maybe I should take the other way around because of the wind. Because the wind blows from south to north here. If I go that way, it's gonna hit you, your microphone. All right, and this is some, how do you call this? Raspberries right here. Other raspberries, that means there's bear around somewhere. And they have those pins that, or thorns, I think you call them. All right. The foreign intelligence of Ukraine, so the Ukrainians claim that, okay, thank you, has recorded evidence of China providing Russia with satellite intelligence data from missile strikes on Ukraine, in particular on foreign investors' facilities. You see how these guys are trying to get this, strike the Russians. So especially on them. Why? Because the Russians struck an American business a month ago or so, and they say, oh my God, look what they did. America, you are under attack. You have to respond, basically. All right, there is evidence of a high level of cooperation between Russia and China in conducting satellite reconnaissance of Ukraine territory to identify and recounter strategic targets for destruction. At the same time, as well as seen in recent months, these targets may belong to foreign investors. And that is in August 21st, as a result of Russian missile attack, a U.S. company, Flex Ltd. in Mukachevo was struck. The Russians said they were providing certain military assistance to Ukraine. It was not like a dildo factory, okay? As these guys try to portray it. Or I know, a ball snipping facility. So that's what it was. Now, okay. So let's say the Chinese provide the Russians with that. Can you name me one or maybe at least 3 countries that provide the same thing Ukraine for about 3 years and a half, more than 3 years and a half? I can name them for you. US, Great Britain, France, I can get Germany. So these guys were involved in something that, let's say if China does it now, these guys have been doing it. But since Ukraine and we are on the right side, it's okay. Those guys are on the wrong side, the bad dudes. After all, the narrative goes, they invaded, how do you call it? Unjustified aggression. That means you can't justify it, man. Only we can justify bombing, I know, different countries. Has a very big deer mark here, deer footstep. All right, and here we have the provocation, I think. 15 drones spotted of their Belgian military base, Denmark and Belgium. I told you, these guys, small countries, insignificant countries in the global stage, they are pushed forward to provoke. But hey, they say Russia provokes them. Russia will not get in a conventional war with NATO. So 15 drones right there. 15 drones flew over Belgium Elsenborn military base near the German border on the night of October 3rd. Can you My God, it's very dangerous. Okay, according to the outlet, German police in the city of Düren noticed the drones around 1:45 a.m. local time. They flew over the Belgian base before crossing into German airspace. Oh my God, this. But who sent them? Well, I think it was the Americans. Oh, no, it was the Russians? Okay. Belgium's monitoring system confirmed 15 drones, which were detected both on the Belgian and German sides of the base at very varying altitudes. So there were Belgian and German sides of the base, so it's halfway. All right, it remains unclear where the drones came from. From America, man, I tell you that, from London. From or who was controlling them. I just said it. Belgium Defense Ministry said, but we know it's the Russians. Why? Because they're gonna say that Russia attacked. Okay, let me go to the Denmark now. Denmark reports systematic military provocations by Russian Navy in its straits. Straits, that is, without those straits, what the fuck? Without those straits, you cannot enter the Baltic Sea. In order to get the Baltic Sea, to get to Kaliningrad, to get to Poland, to get to Finland, you need the straits that are between, I think it's between Sweden and Denmark, right there. Without that, if those straits are closed, no vessel can go through. You go over the map and check it out. So these guys say, well, we need to do something. Guess what? Due to the drone activity, we will close it and we'll monitor every little ship that we allow to pass through. I was not surprised to learn, which I don't know at this point, that they have an agreement like the Bosphorus Straits. Bosphorus and Dardanelles, if you want to go into the Black Sea from the Aegean Sea or Mediterranean Sea. If you want to go into the Black Sea, you have to, I think it's 1977, I don't know, Lausanne, Montreux, who the fuck knows, convention that if there's war in the Black Sea, Turkey can close the strait for all the vessels, military vessels and so on. So probably they do the same thing here, not only military vessels. They will say the shadow fleet, the Russian shadow fleet must be stopped. That means strangling Kaliningrad, Russia, and St. Petersburg, Russia. That's the whole goal, I guarantee you that. So let's see what these guys are saying. This could be just a false flag operation, not by the Ukrainians, but by the NATO big dudes. Denmark Military Intelligence Services has accused Russia warships, plural, warships, of repeated aggressions against aggressive actions in the Danish Straits connecting to the Black and North Seas, Baltic and North Seas. The provocations included aiming weapons at Danish vessels and helicopters, conducting dangerous near-collision maneuvers and jamming navigation systems. So what shall we do? Since the Russians are so aggressive, ban them. NATO, that's Marea Nostri. So what will we do? With the helicopters and all these vessels that were approaching probably the Russians, no, they just came over there to say, hi, how are you? Are you okay? Do you need some water or anything? They were just humanitarian. My God. All right. And here we have, that's a provocation, deliberate provocation by the Russian Navy. It is, my friends, it's going to be collisions, it's going to be something that happens over there, and then what? And then the cherry on the cake, Russia's hybrid war against NATO ramping up Danish intelligence. You got it? So the Russians are ramping up their hybrid war, not NATO. No. Let me tell you how this thing started. The war between Russia and NATO started the moment Soviet Union disintegrated. That's when it started. And it was not started by Russia, it was started by NATO. Why? Through its expansion. Remember, they promised, NATO promised, Americans that is, promised the Soviets in 1991 no 1 inch expansion towards east. If the Soviets agreed to the unification of Germany. The Soviets says, okay, we agree with that because that's how the plan is between us and you. That's how it was discussed. The collapse of Soviet Union, my ass. It was an understanding. And it was an understanding and hijacked by external banking interests. That's what it was. They took over Russia's natural resources, as they try to do again right now, and Putin doesn't agree to that. So they agreed, that's when the war started. So, and the moment NATO expanded eastward, that was a war right there. And NATO moved closer to Russia, not Russia towards NATO. So you see, if I have over there someone and I'm afraid, or I go towards, unless I want to provoke. Or you can say, well, keep your friends closer and your enemy closer. Well, bullshit. If you don't want to provoke, you stay away. You don't go and expose yourself. That's the first rule. So here is Russia ramps up hybrid war against NATO. Not NATO waging a war, direct war on Russia in Ukraine. No, that's not what it is. No. And then let me go to the last article coming from Ukrainska Pravda. Russia attacks Ukraine with 112 aerial assets. Hits recorded, debris falls in 25 locations. So the war continues. The Russians continue to pound the Ukrainians, unfortunately, and the Ukrainian nation is going to be destroyed. The Ukrainian nation is, if they continue doing that, what they do, and that is listening to what this ringleader in Kiev says, and they're going to have a different culture. They're going to have different people in charge of them. Oh, they already have them. And that's it. The war between NATO and Russia will occur. They expect, NATO hopes that it is going to be a hybrid war. Hey, hybrid war. Now, not only a hybrid war, could morph into a direct confrontation, but with conventional weapons. That's what they hope. There's going to be a conventional weapons during this war between NATO and Russia. I don't think the Russians will have any desire to do that, because obviously in a conventional war, I think Russia will lose. That's my assessment of that one, unless they use nuclear weapons. But the big profiteers are pushing like a child. A child always pushes a parent to see how far they can go. And then when they're stopped, then they will try again. And they will try again, and they'll try again. And maybe with time, if you do it consistently and you block the child, then the child will understand that that's it. Here is a old, it's not mine, I didn't build it, deer stand, or whatever it is. A big area here where you can hunt here, or the direction is over there and over there. I'm not going to hunt on my property on the sanctuary, because I don't want to, I want animals to come here and feel safe on my big dozens of acres of wooded property. So thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See you next one.